Today we're going to talk about Ronaldo. He's finally hit the ground running in Saudi Arabia. He's scored 5 goals in his last 4 appearances. Just wanted to open the conversation here with Sam. Yeah, do you think moving to Saudi Arabia now in hindsight was the best move for him?
Well, I think in a few interviews previously, like within the last few years, he's said like he wouldn't go anywhere for money, like he's got enough money, like more money doesn't mean anything. And I feel like he's gone to this league which is not highly viewed around the world and he's getting paid heaps of money. So it's like, what other reason is there for him to go to a league like that?
Yeah, it's a pure money move, and I think anyone in that same position, you take anyone, 38 years old or any other player in the game, you think, if you're getting offered that same contract, I mean, you take it every day of the week. I feel like maybe it's held against him a little bit in the fact that all the things, like you said, he said prior in interviews, and he's all about like, I'm the best, I'm going to prove it, I'm going to do this. Yeah. This move has maybe gone against that, but if you look at his career as a whole and anyone in that same position, to me, it seems like a good move. Do you think it's ruined his legacy then a little bit?
Well, I think so. Him going back to United has probably done the most damage and all the stuff that happened there. And now he's left there, gone to Saudi Arabia. Even if he's pulled his Zlatan and gone to like the American League, at least it's a more widely viewed league. Everyone will see like him perform. I just don't see why he would go to the Saudi Arabia League.
Well, I think obviously to prolong his career, make a bit of money. I mean, it's the biggest contract he's signed to date, and he's obviously on the decline in terms of ability. Yeah. He's 38 years old. I just feel like people are maybe overly harsh towards Ronaldo. If any other player that like have this legacy of being potentially one of the greatest ever. Yeah. If Ronaldo's retired at the same age, 34, 35 as these guys, I feel like maybe the debate might still be open. But the longer he goes on, obviously you'd expect there to be a decline, but people's memory of him now is the United stuff, going to Saudi Arabia. And the timing of it was just so unfortunate for him personally, because Messi's then winning the World Cup, and he's still at PSG, he's playing Champions League.
Yeah, and people say like Messi is a couple of years younger, but you got 2 blokes fighting for the title of like the greatest of all time. And Ronaldo's like known for his athleticism. So you would say him physically would not be equivalent to a normal 38-year-old. Yeah. So you'd say he'd be able to perform longer at an older age.
Would you not say the opposite though? Because if he's relying on physical traits, that's going to be the biggest sign of going old. You're going to lose your pace.
Well, what's more likely? Are you more likely to lose your athleticism or your skill? You would say, yeah, exactly. Wait, what?
Your point doesn't make sense there.
Why?
Because he, like you said, has had such great athleticism, and then once he loses that, what has he got to his game?
Yeah, true.
Versus the guy that hasn't needed that,
true.
His career is prolonged. Yeah. So because the guy who gets slower, who was never fast to begin with, he's never needed that.
You'd say straight up that Messi has better skill than Ronaldo. So
I would say, I mean, that's still up for debate by a lot of people.
I feel like if you're a Ronaldo lover, you'd say otherwise, but I think if you're not Messi or Ronaldo, I'd say you'd say, oh look, watching Messi play has probably got a bit more skill, whereas Ronaldo has the athleticism. Would you say that when Messi turns 38, would he be performing better than what Ronaldo currently is?
I think so. I mean, I've always been in the camp that Messi is better. Yeah. But like you said, he's not someone he is very quick, but he's not reliant on that. The same way Ronaldo kind of was when he was playing out wide on the wing or even up top.
Yeah, and in 2 years, I can't see Messi going to a league like Saudi Arabia or even the American League.
Well, we might have to check in and see where he is. But when you said at the start that you think it was a bad move to him to go there, from my perspective, it almost seems like it was his only option. He's playing at the top level with United, but he can't get a game. He's just a squad player in that team.
Yeah, but you're talking about the Premier League. Like, if he went back, say he had no regard for money, if he went back to the Spanish League, you'd say the Spanish League is relatively uncompetitive. You've got the 2 teams at the top. Players there perform well consistently because it's that sort of league.
Oh, the league is much better as a whole, but I remember for him, he's wanting Champions League football, and there was a stage at the end of last season where he's kind of like looking around and all those stories circulating about his agent looking for a move. Oh, Dortmund, Napoli, like literally going to all these clubs that might be maybe below the highest level in terms of club, but still in those top leagues, but they don't want him. Like, he has to either take that pay cut.
Yeah, exactly. And there was a lot of talk about the fact that like he could potentially go to a club, but they're not willing to pay his wage demands. Yeah. So again, it's about money.
Yeah, I mean, I feel for me, his hand's kind of forced. Like, take any player who's played at the top level at 38, probably can't get into these teams. Whereas if you take Ronaldo, who's arguably one of the best ever, at 38, he's not the best player in the world, but he can still play at the top level. He might not be playing every week, but he's a squad player in those teams. And it kind of felt like he wasn't willing to accept that. And that's why he came out and like forced the move, and he did like the Piers Morgan interview. And I feel maybe people are a bit of a harsh critic towards him, because like that interview, just to quote again, he said like, oh no, I wouldn't go to Saudi Arabia. Like I could easily do that, but that would just be a payday and I don't need the money. And then, you know, a couple months later, he's done it.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, and the timing of it around the whole GOAT debate that's gone on for years about Messi and Ronaldo, it's like, okay, Ronaldo's just gone from Premier League to Saudi League, which, as you mentioned, the level of football has just dropped dramatically, and Messi's there winning like the biggest international trophy you ever could. And that was like the one thing that people could say, oh, but he hasn't done this, he hasn't done this. He's now done it. So for me, it just feels like he could have gone back to Portugal and gone back to his hometown.
Yeah, exactly.
That would have been maybe a bit more of the classic fairy tale that you see players do. But yeah, I think it might be held against him. I mean, in a few years' time, people might forget about all this and just remember all this Champions League, his time at Real Madrid, his initial time at United, things like that. But do you think that this might be held against him, or do you think people of our age in a few years' time will be like, oh no, but I still remember how he went to Saudi and how it all ended?
I think the point of like your age is a factor, because if you've seen him play from start to finish, you've obviously got that history. But for someone who's only been watching him, I guess, even up to 5-10 years, I feel like the last year has put a major dent in his career.
Yeah. It's funny that like anyone, you'd be looking at like a career and you'd be like, okay, obviously like it gets better and then it like kind of comes down and you just kind of focus on the highlights.
I think what helps with that is the statistics and like the titles and the awards and stuff. So you can go back and like, oh look, he's actually got this. Even like pundits now, underneath their name, it has their awards and achievements. So I guess if you've been a great player for so long in a poor team who hasn't done much, it's going to have a bit of a hindrance on your history.
He is obviously someone who's won the whole lot, and like on his resume, he'll have absolutely everything, but people are just kind of criticizing him now. Like had he just retired, I feel people would still be out there going, yep, he is the best ever. But the fact he's kind of kept going and prolonged his career, which is fair play to him, and I would be assuming anyone else with the same options.
Yeah, I mean, no one wants to stop playing.
Yeah, like you should definitely do what he's done, but just the fact of the whole debate and everything that's gone on prior, people might say, oh, the fact he's gone to Saudi Arabia means Messi's better. Whereas had he just retired, it might still be open.
Yeah, that's a good point. Is he the highest paid player ever going to Saudi, or highest wages?
I think it's definitely the biggest contract in terms of the amount he's going to get paid over the time, which is crazy because given like the age of him, he's obviously not the best player in the world.
I feel like his ego's hurt him a bit as well, like going to Saudi, and if he's like the highest paid player, that's
kind of like the one
thing. Yeah, like he always has to be at the top of something in the football world. So I feel like even though the money itself doesn't mean much to him, the status of being the highest paid player ever is like another achievement for him. He says, if I'm the world's highest paid player, I'm the best player in the world.
Yeah, I think that's probably how he's going to justify it to himself, because there was a time when he was still pushing for that Champions League football and he was looking at going to those clubs I mentioned like Napoli and things like that when you saw rumours flying around. But in order to go join that, I know at United he was getting something like $500,000 a week. He's then going to have to take a huge pay cut, maybe get like 20% of that just to be at Napoli. And it's not to say you're now the best player at Napoli. You might just still be a squad player. Like, you got to fight for your place the same as anyone else. Whereas he's, for so long now, last 10, 15 years, he's just walked into any team, hey, I'm Ronaldo, I'm the best ever.
And when he's coming, he's not going to ever like coming off the bench. He needs to be somewhere where the team revolves around him still.
Yeah. So do you think maybe his ego's hurt him?
Oh, for sure. I think so.
And even though he's in the Saudi League, which as you mentioned, football fans around the world will know, like obviously all the European teams are way more prestigious, but is Ronaldo sitting there going, oh, I've got 5 goals in 4 games, like I'm the man?
Yeah, I think most people will know that like you're in a lower league. So if you go to a league like that, you need to be shining in that league. Like you need to be the standout player in that league. Otherwise, you just get found out, I think.
I just think like fair play to him. It's so funny that prior to like the Saudi Arabia League and things like that, so many players like Gerrard and Lampard, they were all like, okay, I'm now on the decline in my career now. I'm not as good as I used to be. I'm done with the Premier League. I'll go to America, earn a bit more money, maybe play 2-3 more years, and then I'll retire. And they've still kind of held this legacy within the Premier League that people are like, oh yeah, he was like the greatest ever midfielder. Whereas Ronaldo, I don't know if it's just because maybe the debate seems a bit more toxic or a bit more competitive between him and Messi, but it feels like people are kind of using it against Ronaldo, that he's done the same thing. Hey, my time at the top's kind of done. I'll go and earn like the big bucks out in Saudi Arabia. And people are going, oh, because he's done that, like the debate stuff.
Yeah, to be fair to him, you get a lot of players at the end of their career going to somewhere like the Chinese league just for the money.
Yeah.
And as soon as they do that, no one really keeps tabs on him.
Yeah.
But because Ronaldo is who he is,
Super high profile.
everyone's like, you saw the amount of followers for the team after he joined, and everyone's still like following him, like seeing how he's going. So just because he is like his own global brand,
yeah,
and everyone's going to be following him no matter what he does, even after football, it hurts him because everyone's like keeping an eye on him.
But do you think there's another aspect that had he gone back to Portugal and played for like his home team and stuff, it maybe would get a bit more of respect from the fans?
Yeah, I think so, because it's more of a story.
Yeah.
Whereas him going to Saudi,
it's purely a money move.
Yeah, it doesn't relate to anything. It's just like, yeah.
Because you see, like, you know, your mate Wayne Rooney, even the way like he goes back to Everton, gives him a year of like charity. Yeah. People kind of respect that. Oh, good on him. Like he's gone, he's won everything. He's kind of gone back, and you've seen like Tevez do it, Suarez. There's heaps of like bigger players who have then gone back to their hometown, and it's like, oh, fair play. Like people take the hat off. They understand you've kind of had to leave to go win it because, you know, it might not be possible at that club you're at initially. But to go back there and like, hey, look, I'm back. Yeah. I'm going to try all I can. That seems to be a bit more respected.
Yeah.
So maybe it's maybe leaves a bit of a sour taste in your mouth as well, that it's like, oh, he's gone to Saudi. Everyone knows that's not like a dream move of his as a kid. He definitely wasn't a fan of them growing up. It's not a competitive league.
There's no reason for him going there that you can have respect for.
Yeah. He must acknowledge, like for me, it's like everyone knows he's kind of on the decline now. Fair enough, he wants to keep playing, move to a lower league. That's completely normal. But like you said, he's there like, oh, nah, win for me because I'm still the highest paid player, or I've just signed this mega contract.
Even if they win the Saudi league, it's like, is that title really going to be appearing in his stats in the future? Like, he could have gone to like Napoli or a European team, been maybe a squad filler, like come off the bench, like similar to what Bale was doing at Real Madrid at the end. He could have potentially been in the Champions League winning squad and then added another stat to his achievements. But he's obviously not chasing stats now.
Well, it was almost at a point, like, I mean, for me personally, when he left Real Madrid and went to Juventus, the Spanish league at the time definitely felt like the more competitive league than the Italian league. And even, you know, what Real Madrid are competing for in terms of Champions Leagues and things like that, it felt like they were higher than Juventus. So it already seemed like a bit of a decline. And then the move to United, like you said before, kind of wrapped up that whole fairy tale. Okay, he's gone back to United, that's it, done. But now, like, again, going down further probably hurts him a little bit. But yeah, I thought it was just an interesting concept, given you see so many other people. I mean, anyone in their career, no matter what they do, if you're now meant to be on the decline, you now get offered the biggest contract you yet to have. Of course you take it.
Yeah.
But it was just a bit of, just seemed a bit hypocritical.
Yeah.
Yeah, that basically wraps up our chat about Ronaldo. Chuck your comments down below if you agree or disagree with anything we've said. Let us know how many goals you think he's going to finish on this season. He's currently got 5 in his last 4 games at the time of recording. The GOAT debate's obviously probably going to go on forever. For a lot of people, or for me personally, a lot of people I know, I've always been a Messi guy and I feel like the debate's settled, but obviously you still hear people still saying it is Ronaldo, and potentially this might have hurt his argument.
I think we'll have to see both of them finish up their careers to really weigh it up.
Yeah, once they're done, once it's all said and done and everything's finished, we can compare it. That's probably a good point. If you're not already following us on Instagram as well, check us out on there. We'll post regularly different news updates and let you know when we're posting videos on YouTube as well. But otherwise, I've been Ant. This has been Sam. Anything you'd like to say?
Sam.
This has been Red Mate. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.